Hey YouTube, my name's Nick James and I'm going to be teaching you how to play guitar. I've been playing guitar for over 25 years and wanted to share some of the concepts that help me learn the best and hopefully save you a lot of time. Today's video we're going to be covering triads and the three different triads or three different shapes you're going to be able to learn up and down the neck. So far we've covered the concepts of the open chord shapes, which include C, A, G, E, and D. We started to look at, what chord progressions are and, a couple popular ones like the 1-4-5 or 1-5-6-4 or 1-6-4-5. But, outside of that, once you start getting into the point where you're ready to learn how to solo and improvise, I would think applying the open chord shapes to the caged system is going to help you map out the entire fretboard. So we went over what it looks like to take that C major chord and play it in the various shapes up the neck. That way you at least have a better understanding of where that chord or where those notes exist. So we have the C in the C shape, C in the A shape, C in the G shape, C in the E shape, and C in the D shape. And that really is the entire neck. So you're able to play C major in all 5 hand positions. Now, what the triads are going to do is help take those 5 positions and really break down 3 places you're going to find the triad. And the triads are just 3 note chords, which are going to include the 1, 3, and 5. So we're going to use the chord G for this lesson. And G has a G note, a B note, and an open D. So G, B, and D. So if we start all the way on the high strings here, because we're probably going to be soloing mostly on these high strings, let's find that same 1, 3, and 5, G, B, and D. That's going to take us up to this A-shaped G chord, and it's going to be this bottom chunk right here. 1, 3, 5, G, B, D. So we have our major triad here on the bottom 3 strings for G major, but we only have 2 more ways we can play that triad. And the first one is called the first inversion, and the second is called, you guessed it, the second inversion. So the first inversion starts with the top string on B, which is the major third of G, and then you're going to have D right below that, and G. So 3, 5, 1. And this comes right out of the E-shaped G chord. So that's your first inversion triad of G major, and the second inversion is going to start on the 5, which is D. So you have D, G, and B. And this looks exactly like the D-shaped chord we learned all the way down here for D major, but we're shifting it so the root note is on G. So we have D, G, and B, 5, 1, 3. And the way John Mayer's guitar teacher teaches this is he uses do, mi, and so to call out the 1, 3, 5, because that's really what those notes function as. If you look at do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, we all learned that when we were little, but do is also added to the end because it's the same note. So there's really only 7 notes, and if you picked out the 1, 3, and 5, it would be do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, T, do. So do, and then mi as the third, and so as the fifth. I thought it was a pretty fun concept because what you're trying to do here is just establish that this A shape gives you the 1, 3, 5 in that order, but then this first inversion has the 3, 5, 1, or mi, so, do. And then lastly, we have 5, 1, 3. So, do, mi. And the whole goal here is just to take these three different ways to play this major triad and practice just playing them back and forth. And even call out what the notes are. 1, 3, 5, 3, 5, 1, 5, 1, 3. And you're going to do that same thing, just moving up to the next set of 3 strings. So if we started in the same shape here in the A shape, we have 1, 3, and 5 on the bottom 3 strings. But if we move up to the D string, G string, and B string, we're going to notice that that triad 5, 1, 3, or so, do, mi, is the same thing as the open tuning for those 3 strings. D, G, B. So chances are, if you've already been playing a G chord, you already know that triad and have played it plenty of times. So that's our second inversion, since we're starting with D at the top, but we have to target the 1, 3, 5. So where are we going to find the 1? On the D string, we're going to play the 5th fret, and that's the G note, 1, and then 3 and 5, G, B, D. And this is my favorite shape because it's just like a stair step. We have 1, and then a fret down, string down, 3, fret down, string down, 5. And then the last shape to learn on this set of strings is the second inversion, or the first inversion, starting on B on the D string. 3, 5, 1, B, D, G. So this is going to help you so much when starting to learn scales and soloing, because these 3 notes are probably the most important notes you're going to play in any scale, because they're what we call are the chord tones. So practice on those 3 strings. And just keep mixing it up. Until you're really comfortable kind of seeing the way this same set of notes kind of changes shape just by moving it up the strings. And keep doing this up the whole 6 strings. So if we move up to the next 3 strings, let's just find the G note on the A string. So that's going to be the 10th fret of the A string. And you know, it'll look familiar because that's where we started when we looked at the first triad here at the bottom. But we're going to actually move backwards and have the G and then B and D, 1, 3, 5 right here. And this comes out of the C shape. The next one we got to find is the first inversion, which starts with B. And and then below that is going to be an open D and open G. And then lastly, you got to find the D note here, which really, you know, comes right out of this second inversion of the G major chord, comes right out of the E shape. D, G, B. And then lastly, same thing at the top here, we have G, B, D. And then we're going to play the first inversion, so we're going to play B, D, and G. And then the last one here, we'll start on D, which is the second inversion, D, G, B. And you're going to start to see how similar these shapes are, because the second inversion on these A, D, and G strings here, where I have D on top, is exactly the same shape up here. Same with the C shape, major triad with G on top. It looks exactly the same as our open G chord here at the top. So these patterns and shapes will start to become more and more concrete as you begin to practice them up and down the neck. And that's the first place I would start when learning how to solo is, you know, if you're going to pick a chord or a key to solo in, pick something like G or C that will be found, you know, in a lot of the songs you like. That way, you know, if you pick a common key to practice in, you know, can pretty much solo and start to improvise over your favorite songs instantly. And you know, after learning these triads, I would definitely take the chance to test yourself on, you know, these open chord shapes and be able to pick out where the triad you're playing kind of fits into. So again, we have the A shape down here, E shape down here, and D shape. And then the next set of strings, I'm right out of the A shape again, right out of the E shape, and right out of the C shape. And keep going down the neck, you know, we'll have this triad, and then its first inversion, which comes out of the open G. And then we'll have our second inversion right here, which comes out of the E shape. Thanks for watching. If you keep, you know, liking these videos, go ahead and subscribe to keep along, and stay tuned for more lessons. We're going to eventually get into the pentatonic scale and soloing, but for now, practice these triads, practice these chord shapes, and then, you know, the thing we want to cover probably right before we go into learning scales is the chord scale, and that'll probably be our next lesson. So thanks for watching, and have a good day.